Hello, everyone. All right. So, good afternoon, everyone. I hope we're all in with our lesson for today. Before we start, I want you to drop your names, your full name, so that later on I'll be checking who among from the group are already inside our classroom for today. So, hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon po from here to yours. All right. So, I can see some who are already dropping their names. So, let's just wait for a little while for the rest of the team or the rest of the group. Okay. Um this is, I think, a supplementary discussion na lang for everybody, since I believe last time I already concluded that that's the end of our discussion. But this is also essential because as part of our course, wherein we really have to discuss campus journalism under broadcasting. So today our discussion will be focusing into broadcasting, specifically into radio broadcasting, because in broadcasting, we are actually considering two. First is the radio broadcasting, and the second one is the TV newscasting. All right. If you wanted to have a sample for TV newscasting, since although I will be topping a little topics or basic under TV broadcasting, you can actually search later the samples of my previous students or my former students under campus journalism. They've actually created an amazing output for TV newscasting. So pwede nyong puntahan yon just for your reference and as to how come up with a TV newscasting or a TV news broadcasting. All right. So today, as I have mentioned, we will just be focusing on the radio instruction. This is also very close to my heart because um, way back college, as far as I remember, first year college, that's the time where I first introduced to broadcasting. That is where I started with a part-time job at Radyo Natin FM here at as many colleges. So before, I was assigned to national newscasting. Ako yung maririnig dati na local news. So pag tinawag na local news, then it's called Radyo Natin from Masbate City, Jerry Kabug. Ako yon ang nag-news report before. Ngayon, I just don't know if they're still doing that. We're in nagbibigay rin ng report or local news from Masbate. So before yun yung trabaho ko, ako yung gumagawa ng script, then ako rin yung nagbo-broadcast. And I have to wake up at early as 5 o'clock in the morning. Kailangan mo nang pumunta sa station just to deliver your report. And also, this is very close to my heart. By the way, for those, let me formally introduce myself. Again, I am teacher Jerry Kabug. I am a professor and a school paper advisors for I think 5 years now. All right. So going back with the storytelling while waiting for the others, this is very close to my heart because I am a fond of voice recording, voice master. Kasi ever since when I was in elementary, I really love to talk. I started with hosting as early as grade 4. So just to share to everybody, siguro may makaka-relate during their times na sa elementary, anong year kayo na expose sa hosting or sa speaking engagement. So broadcasting truly involves our vocals, our mouth, because this is very, very essential in broadcasting. So grade 4, I remember I hosted an event, a school event in my elementary school. And one of the guests there is a voice master of Masbat in the name of Sir Noel Logronio. If you are familiar with him, he is also a DYME anchor. Pag pinag-usapan natin sa Masbate, ang mga kilalang anchor, they would really call like Noel Logroño or Sir Long. So, nun pa lang, naririnig mo yung DYME. I don't know if you're familiar with DYME. AM pa nun, 'di ba? So it's our local way of delivering news. So sila na yung naririnig ko. So I am very very intense that time because yun nga, I am hosting at the same time. Yung isa pa sa mga idol ko yung nandon, and that is in the name of Sir Long. So as early as that, then I was really inspired when he said na I am doing well. I am doing an excellent work in hosting, and I have to try broadcasting daw. I have to try other venture. So, doon na, nagsimula na hanggang grade 4, 5, 6, halos lahat ng event like Buwan ng Wika, Nutrition Month, I am hosting. Going back as well on during my high school days, talagang doon ako nasagsag with the speaking, with hosting, pati nung college. Sabi ko nga, yung sinasabi sa The Voice na boses ang puhunan, that's really true because in hosting, boses rin ang puhunan. And I am very grateful na I was able to gain some foundation in speaking where I also used as my bread, kumbaga, in college days. College, ang nagbuhay sa akin is hosting and radio DJing and of course, ano pa ba, mga speaking engagement. And not to brag, last year, yung mga dating estudyante ko, they can say na talagang nawala ako for a couple of weeks because I trained the regional champion for National School Press Conference broadcasting. Naging isa kami doon sa mga facilitator and trainer at the same time. And yung pinaka-last na National School Press Conference, champion lang naman po ang aming kinoach. And that is from Pisay, Philippine Science High School ng Bicol. So, sila yung nag-champion and I'm very, very happy kasi isa ako dun sa nag-train at isa rin ako dun sa mga nakasama na nag-facilitate sa kanila in radio broadcasting. I am with Sir Amor. I don't know kung dun sa mga estudyante kong Villamor, yes, kasi Sir Amor Villamor from San Jacinto, he is really a very good sensei in terms of broadcasting. So let's start our lesson for today. Let's talk about radio broadcasting. So basically, radio broadcasting is the transmission of our voice, sound, or music, of course, via wireless telegraphy. So yun yung mga naririnig natin. But konti lang ang nakakaalam na in broadcasting, hindi kailangan talaga na boses. 'Di ba? Hindi kailangan talaga na pag nagbo-broadcasting kailangan ganito yung boses. Dapat mga kaibigan, pag nagbo-broadcasting ganito ang boses. Hindi po ganon. Because in a competition, it's always important to have the what we call natsot. Yung natsot na yon, yung tinatawag nating natural sound. So, we need to have a natural sound but always remember to modulate it well. Wag naman masyado yung sobrang taas ng inyong boses, wag naman yung masyadong mababa yung boses natin. True, right? So, let me give you first the elements of audio. Ito yung mga elemento na kailangan in radio broadcasting. First is the voice. So, sabi dito, can be changed by the following devices like variable frequency fillers or echo, artificial pitch change, multiple recording, and pre-recording. But guys, these things are not applicable anymore in a competition because as much as possible, we wanted to sound natural. So you don't have to sound like yung mga ginagaya natin na excuse me po, 'di ba? Wag ganon. So if you're an anchor, you have to sound like as you are. But just be mindful in terms of articulating it and modulating your voice. Example, throughout Spain, in cities, towns, and villages, up to 11 million people took to the streets today in solidarity with those affected by Thursday's bomb attacks in Madrid. So, natachamba natin yung timing, yung pitch, yung boses, at hindi yung parang throughout Spain and cities, towns, and villages. Hindi mo naman pwedeng ganon yung ilalagay mo. Ilalapat mo ng naaayon sa topic at naaayon sa kung sino ka. So, importante sa voice ang ating personality. That's why whenever I select people or anchors or even showbiz reporters, it still depends on their personality. Si Micah Bombales, is she here? I really love Micah when she delivers a showbiz news. Way back college, yun. Micah, I think sa lahat ng mga naging showbiz anchors ko, Micah is one of the best, di ba? So, magaling si Micah pagdating sa showbiz news. I like her personality and the texture of her voice in terms of ask nyo na lang siya kung paano ba gawin yun, Micah, if you're here. So, very important sa audio elements natin is the voice. The second is the music. And the third is sound. So, lagi lang po nating tatandaan ng elements ng vocal natin ang VMS. Okay? VMS, vocal, music, sound. Now, the question is, sir, you've mentioned music and you also mentioned sound. Now, what is the difference between music and sound? Music refers to the live, or it can be live or recorded, but it refers to the background of the music, the background of the news bed that we are using in the broadcasting. While the sound are the effects that we are using, like bush, stingers, ginagamit din yung mga shiu shiu, ganon. Oh, ganon yung mga ginagamit na sound. So that is the difference between the two when we're talking about radio broadcasting. Okay? So let me give you first the pointers for radio newscasting. So pag-usapan naman natin si newscasting. Newscasting is, of course, presenting the news to our audience. Now, radio broadcasting is very critical compared to TV newscasting because it is only a one-time, big-time shot. Kung ikaw kung ikaw ay nakikinig sa radyo, wala kang karapatan na sasabihin mo na, pakiulit nga, ano yun? Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin ganon. That's why the anchor or even the news presenter should be clear and should be mindful on the way he or she deliver the news. So first, sabi dito, radio cannot depend upon typographic devices, page position, and supplementary pictures to attract attention because our focus is auditory. Okay? What we hear is what we get. Diba? Kaya dapat in script writing pa lang, we are very, very mindful, especially in script writing because this is the very first step in radio broadcasting, your script writing. The newscasting, you just have to deliver, you just have to perform it, but more importantly, the content of your newscasting or broadcasting. We are already 104. Thank you so much for all the love and support for attending this. Okay. Second, radio cannot give highly detailed account of the event. Correct. Because we are not going, unlike to the newsprint, diba? Yung newspaper, they focus more on details. They give us the full details. While in radio, we are just giving them the gist of what happened or the gist of the topic. So yun yung ginagawa natin. Also, radio cannot deal with long statistical summaries. Hindi po natin pwedeng sabihin yung napakahaba-habang statistics. Alright? Unless it is a documentary, I think. You have to do that. Alright? Also, when we're talking naman with news writing, dito na tayo sa news writing, sa principles in news writing, it is also my fault, I have to admit it, because I wasn't able to really do an online discussion or even a supplementary discussion in terms of news writing because it is very, very important. The foundation of all the journalistic articles that we are doing is news writing, diba? So, just to give you a little knowledge lang with the news writing, what's important with the news writing is the angling. Okay? Remember the angling. Imagine you are all given the opportunity to write a certain event. Let's say, for example, um, sa school event, mag-start tayo sa school event. Let's say we have Buwan ng Wika celebration. So gumawa ka ng article last 2017 about Buwan ng Wika celebration. So your title or your headline is Buwan ng Wika 2017. Would it be a good or a bad headline? Sige nga, let's see kung good or bad. Hello. Sige nga, comment down if it's good. My headline is Buwan ng Wika 2017. Good or bad headline? Sabi ni Roxanne Marie, bad daw. Sabi naman ni Ian, bad. Because Ian is original representative for headline, copy reading and headline writing. So, alam agad ni Ian na talagang bad yon. Why? Bakit siya bad? Because alam naman natin na Buwan ng Wika yon. Paano ako? Estudyante ako, nag-attend ako ng Buwan ng Wika 2017. I witnessed everything. From the prayer, to tableau, to performances, to pinning of sashes, to crowning of the beauties. Alam ko na yon. So, your angling, papasok si angling, what are the things happened that day na hindi ko pa alam? So, dun papasok si angling. So, ano ba 'yon? Halimbawa, uh, nag nag-introduce ng YAG or Youth Artist Guild at nag-perform sila sa Buwan ng Wika. Okay? So, ano yung magandang headline doon? Pwede mong sabihin na Buwan ng Wika 17 commemorates YAG talents. Diba? So, pwedeng ganon na yung focus ng angling mo ay nag-focus ka sa YAG na nag-perform during the Buwan ng Wika na nagbigay ng oportunidad sa lahat ng estudyante na sumali sa YAG or Youth Artist Guild. So, pwedeng ganon. So, in news writing, that is very important trend. Now, we have to consider the angling and we have to consider the story. Okay? So, yun yung mga basic na pinag-uusapan or kino-consider when we are writing a news. Kasi nandun na lahat eh. Pare-pareha lang naman ng content ng ang journalistic type of writing natin. It's all just mostly magkakapareha lang yung content because we started from the headline, we also have to do the lead, the best lead, we also have to give the body and the conclusion. And yan, parati nating sinasabi, dapat meaty, catchy, bombastic yung headline ninyo, interesting yung headline ninyo, the lead should cater interest, di ba? So those are the things lang na kailangan natin. So how about in radio news writing? Kasi that's the next question eh. Ano ang pagkakaiba ng news writing sa radio news writing? So here are the things. First, one thought to each sentences. Diba? Tandaan nyo parati when you are doing your script, say for instance, nabigyan kayo ng oportunidad to have this broadcasting, and even if you are delivering a speech, di ba? Lalo na pag impromptu speech, kailangan one sentence, one idea. Tatandaan nyo yun ha. One sentence, one idea. Let me give you an example. President Duterte said that heads will roll once the hostage taking investigation pinpoints who are to be held responsible to the bloody event that he assures the Hong Kong government that there will be no cover-up in the result. Would it be a good script? Sige nga. Good or bad script? Let me read again. President Duterte said that the heads will roll once the hostage-taking investigation pinpoints who are to be held responsible to the bloody event, and he assures the Hong Kong government that there will be no cover-up in the results. Good or bad? Okay? Ang pag-identify natin ng good or bad, yung sabi ko kanina, na one idea, one sentence. Okay? So, may nagsabi good, sabi ni Marquez, good. Sabi naman ni Manlapas Edna, good. Sabi ni Danny Kadalanon, bad. Sabi ni Balatayo Marian, bad. Okay, the answer is bad. Kasi it's a complex. There's a lot of, happening in one sentence. Avoid complex sentences when writing a script for broadcasting, okay? So, how to make it better, okay? Pwede mo sabihin, President Duterte said persons to be found responsible to the bloody hostage taking would be punished. Period. Duterte also assures the Hong Kong government that there will be no cover up in the result. Period. Okay? So, meaning, we already come up with two sentences with just, the two ideas into two sentences. And we're not merging two ideas into one sentences. What's the reason behind? um, in broadcasting, we are taking into words. Okay, we are looking that the words would be with the same length. Okay, para magandang pakinggan, hindi na bubulol-bulol si broadcaster. Kaya kailangan dapat, as much as possible, one idea, one sentence. Okay? So, second natin, in observing news writing, avoid alliteration or tongue-twisting phrases. Ito pa yon, di ba? Aside from the complex sentences, we also have to avoid alliteration. So, ano nga yung mga alliteration natin in English? Those are, example, the foreign press pressed for possible freedom of the arrested prisoners of post-World War II in Papua New Guinea, Philippines, and Eastern West Coast in Costa Rica. 'Di ba? Parang paulit-ulit na lang ang pressed. Okay? Ano pa? Yung post prisoners. Papua, Philippines. 'Di ba? So Costa, coast, 'di ba? So we have to avoid. Now, how to make it better? Let me give you an example of a better version of this same topic. The foreign reporters have pressed for the possible release of the prisoners after World War II in Papua eastern part of Costa Rica and the Philippines. Okay? So, exactly, Carla. Carla Olala. Parang poetry. Yes, we are not doing a poetry in news writing, even in journalistic type of writing, unless it is a feature that you have a certain intention of making it in a poetry way. So pwedeng ganon. All right? So, vary the length. Pangatlong kailangan nating i-consider is the length. Variety in length of sentences will hold the audience attention more effectively. 'Di ba? Yung parang hindi ka na humihinga, isang hingahan lang yung pagbasa mo ng isang report. Tapos dahil sa inahabol mo yung hininga mo, hindi mo na nade-deliver ang tamang diction, pause, 'di ba? Ang tamang modulation, 'di ba? Ang tamang tempo ng pag-deliver mo ng report. So, magiging problem 'yon. Another is method of quotation. 'Di ba? The quote and unquote ito, mga kaibigan. Outmoded na po yung and I quote. 'Di ba? Outmoded na yung quote and unquote na yon. So brief quotations can be adequately noted through a change of intonation, or it's your strategy na how to make a certain move to change na hindi galing sa iyo yung line. Halimbawa, President Duterte said yesterday in Malacanang that he will not remove Press Secretary Lawyer Harry Roque. Okay? So hindi ko sinabi na President Duterte said yesterday, and I quote, not remove I will not remove Secretary Harry Roque. So hindi na siya ganun yung pag-address mo in terms of quotations. Fifth is means of identification. So make your audience aware of the newsmaker's identity. Okay? Even in news writing. Sa news writing, hindi ka magsisimula na DILG Secretary Jerry Cabug raises the concerns on the unemployed Filipino people. So hindi ka magsa-start sa word na DILG because they don't know yet the word DILG. In news writing yon, kahit din in broadcasting. So, wag ka magsisimula. You have to um, spell out. So, Department of Interior and Local Government Secretary. But on the second sentence, if you're still going to use the same term, you can now use DILG na lang. If it's on the second usage. But if it ends in the first time na maririnig ng inyong mga audience, you have to spell out. Example po nito is, Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III believes that he still enjoys the trust and confidence of President Duterte. Bello said, diba? So, napansin ninyo, on the first, complete name siya. Meron pa tayong Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III. But on the second usage, ginamit na lang ang kanyang surname. Okay? So, isa pa pala yung tatandaan natin. When we are using the terms, the government terms, we have to spell out on the first usage. On the second, we can just abbreviate. But also on the names, kung hindi kilala yung tao, we have to complete the first name or the complete name from the first sentence or the first usage. On the second usage, you can just use their surnames. Okay? Same thing din po yun yung linagay po 'di ba natin sa activity natin with news writing. Let's say Principal Jeric Espinosa Cabug, 'di ba? Then on the second use, ginamit mo Principal Cabug. Would it be okay or not? Comment down nga. Okay pa ba? Ang gagamitin ko ba? Ang ginamit ko una, Principal Jeric Espinosa Cabug. Sa pangalawang paggamit ko, sinabi ko, Principal Cabug said. Pwede ba? Sige nga, comment down. Kaya ba? Pwede ba siya? Not. Not. Sabi ni Joanne Sevilla, not. Sabi naman ni Placencia Mary Joy, not. Melissa Malerna, not. And Davina Francisco, not. Azazena, okay po sir, okay. Roland, not. Yes. We are not going to use Principal Cabug, but instead just use Cabug said. Okay? So addressed with their surname. No need for their titles. Okay? Also, we have to clarify another thing that we need to consider in news writing. We need to clarify antecedents. Do you know what's antecedent? Major in English, nag-structure of English na kayo dyan. I know you know what's the antecedents. The news copy must be understandably clear. Okay? So, example ha, yung paggamit ng antecedent natin, yung mga he, his, ganon. So, halimbawa, let me read you an example. Duterte explained that some of his agenda are suggestion of Pimentel himself as he promised all-out cooperation to his administration. Tama ba? Okay ba siyang pakinggan? Or nag-iiba na yung meaning niya? Okay? Basically, yes. So we can just replaced it with this sentence. President Duterte said Senate President Aquino Pimentel III supports platform of the government. Okay? Kung gusto pa talaga nating improve, we can still use Duterte explained that some of his agenda have been Pimentel's own suggestions as the Senate himself promised he'll all-out support to the present administration. Okay? So those are the things Justin said. Wow, Justin ha. Okay. So, yun yung sinasabi natin with the usage of antecedent. All right? So, now, let's try to compare. Nasabi ko na kanina, one of the comparison with newsprint to radio news is the details. All right? So, the focus of newsprint is we are really talking of the details, what really happened during that scenario or that situation. While on the other hand, when we're talking about news, radio news, we are focusing on the general, all right, or the gist of what happened. Although we are supplementing the important details, we are focusing on the very important details only. All right? So, first, sabi dito, radio news is less formal than newspaper writing. Okay? Bakit kaya sinabi na radio news is less formal than news writing newspaper writing. Okay? Let me give you one. Lalo na sa Filipino, this is very, very tricky when we're talking of broadcasting in Filipino. Ito yung magiging problema mo when there's a lot of figures. Diba? Halimbawa, ang mga figures ay 5.3 million. 5,368,250 pesos. So, okay bang sabihin yung figures na yon? No. We just have to say almost 5 million. Alright? So we can use almost 5 million. Or we can say 5.2 million. Pwedeng wag mo nang sabihin lahat. Unlike in newspaper print or newspaper writing, ilalagay mo talaga yung eksaktong figure. While on radio news, we are just giving the nearest estimated cost or estimated figure. Alright? So, lalo na sa pag-spell out. In newsprint, we can use, halimbawa, Pebrero 24, 2021. So, we can just write there, Pebrero 24, the figures. But in radio news, we have to spell them out. Now, kung napakagaling na ng anchor but this is not advisable, if napakagaling na ni anchor or ni news presenter na magbasa kahit figure pa yan, okay lang, but not recommended. I still recommend to spell it out. So, i-spell out nyo talaga yung Pebrero 24, 2021. Okay? So, bakit? Kasi binabasa nyo yan. Binabasa lang yan ni news presenter. Diba? Sa loob ng booth, 'di ba? So yun. Also, this is mainly because the newscaster should sound like a friend or a member of a family giving information in a private setting. Okay? So, hindi ka masyadong structured or hindi ka masyadong focused in terms of the way you write it in a newspaper, but you give it as if you are just talking or chismosang kapitbahay lang na nagkukwento. 'Di ba? Magandang araw sa inyo mga kaibigan. 'Di ba? Parang ganun lang, sort of. But if it's a new showbiz. But if it's not, it's just like you are telling a story to your friend. Like, isang guro sa paaralan ng Usmeña ang natagpuang patay, 'di ba? Parang ganun lang. Alright? So, clarity of expression is the first rule in radio writing. So, what is clarity of expression? A newspaper reader can always read back. Okay? Yun yung sabi ko na kung nagbabasa ka ng newspaper, you can go back. Halimbawa, you've missed a certain important details, then you can go back and try to read it again. But in news broadcasting, hindi. 'Di ba? Kung ano yung unang narinig, yun yung unang papasok, 'di ba? Wala ditong take 2. Once, okay, air at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Diretso. Mula, 'di ba? So, yung mga opening bill like mula sa tahanan ng katotohanan, Sandigan ng Bayan, DWRH, Boses Kabataan, member, kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas. So, when you utter those words at sinabi mo, Pilipinas, hindi mo nasasabihin, sorry, Pilipinas. Wala kang ganung sasabihin, 'di ba? So hindi mo ano sabi ni Jasmine Magbuhos, hugot ang mga nangyayari. Talaga ba? All right, so what's the meaning of kakuyaw? Right? So another thing is radio story. Diba? So radio story naman is much shorter than the newspaper version. So always remember that when we are writing in a news broadcasting, when we are writing that, it's just a gist of what really happened. Okay, but you have to get the most important details and the most important information in order for you to broadcast. Hindi mo nasasabihin na natagpuang patay ang isang guro sa Osmeña Colleges na nakahawak sa kanyang binti ang kanang kamay at ang kaliwang kamay naman ay nakalagay sa kanyang noo na naka-peace sign. So hindi mo siya sasabihin ganon, di ba? Wala nang ganong nangyari, di ba? So those are the things that we need to consider whenever we write in news broadcasting. Now, let me give you the 5 principles in writing radio script. One, it is spoken. Okay? A radio program is not written in literature, as I have mentioned. We are not doing like a poetry. So it is spoken, the spoken words of everyday speech. We have to avoid depende sa paggamit ng sentence, pwede rin kuya is delikado. Alright, very detailed. Okay, thank you for informing me with that. Okay, so in spoken, sabi dito, the principles in writing radio scripts, it is spoken, meaning we have to do something in terms of the style in writing. Dapat it should be universal to everybody. Okay? Hindi ka pwedeng gumamit rin ng regional words. 'Di ba? So, hindi mo sasabihin na maurag ang pagsasayaw ng mga Manilenyo sa ginanap na Aliwan Festival. Tapos report mo national. Right? Hindi ganon. So pwede mo sabihin, magaling ang pagkasayaw, di ba? Kung maurag, pwede dito lang sa atin. Kahit nga dito sa Masbate, iba ang meaning ng urag. Di ba? Uragon. Di ba? So for them, it's also different. Alright? Next is, example. Wag mong sasabihin to Nagtahan bridge is not motorable. Diba? It is spoken, accepted bang motorable? TikToker, ang dami na kasi diba? Vocationalism, diba? Yung kay Mimi yun, natatandaan niyo ba yun? Or you can say, Nagtahan bridge is closed to traffic. Okay? So you can use that term. Second, it is immediate. Okay, what do we mean when we say immediate? Radio is now, as in now, all right? Now medium, meaning ngayon nangyayari. Its greatest advantage over the newspaper is immediacy. Ngayon mo siya naririnig, ngayon mo siya mapapakinggan. Okay? It can report events as they happen. News reports aired through the radio and should be present or progressive tense. Okay? So wala tayong gagamiting kahit kung meron man tayong gagawing past, that should be a cover story. Okay? Example, President Duterte this morning accepted the resignation of Justice Secretary Alexandre Aguirre. Okay? Or you can say, President Duterte say the country economy is well on the road to recovery. Okay? So, yun. Third, another principle in writing the radio script, sabi, it is person to person. What do we mean when we say person to person? I hope you are doing lecture because that's the means of, already the word INCENTIVES. Okay. It is person to person. Writing for radio is not oratory. It is informal. It is between the newscaster and the audience. Okay? As if, although, tulad nito, pag pinikit mo ang inyong mata, nakikinig ka sa akin, may isip mo na we're just talking, or Teacher Jerry is just talking to me right now. Pero, wala kang nakikita. Diba? Wala kang nakikita. So, yun ang gusto lang sabihin sa atin ng person to person, meaning, I am just talking to you. As if I am just talking to you. Alright? So, hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na the Office of Consular Services of the Department of Foreign Affairs, in condition with the other offices under the department, has started streaming its passport issuing function to the public. Alright? Ang haba. Parang, ang daming terms. Why not say, the Department of Foreign Affairs has now made it easier for people to get their passport. Okay? So, easy. I can get you. Yes, I can follow you. You are correct. I can understand you. Okay? And number 4 is, it is heard only once. Okay? Balik-balik lang tayo. Hindi ka na pwedeng umulit pa. When you talk, when you deliver, pag sinabi mong, the Philippines is now facing, diba? So, hindi mo sabihin na, it's PH sound, PH sounds pala, kaya dapat the Philippines. So, you don't have to correct yourself. Unless the idea, but it is barely happened in radio broadcasting. Pero sa TV newscasting, when they uttered a wrong information, they always say, I stand corrected. Okay? I just don't know if you watched the very trending issue regarding Pinky Web and Harry Roque, wherein makikita mo how professional Pinky Web deal with Secretary Roque. Diba? Do you know, have you ever watched the video wherein in the middle of the interview, Harry Roque tries to humiliate Pinky Web or to rectify the information given by Pinky Web during the newscast happened before the interview. So yun yung isa sa mga kinagigiliwan ko ngayon when the anchor or even the news presenter tries to rectify or tries to defend herself a long way with the program, 'di ba? Parang wow, grabe, bilib ako doon sa anchor na 'yon, right? So, the broadcast once aired is gone and the listener has no means of referring to it. Okay? Unless it is recorded, we're happy right now that like let's say ANC News, ano pa ba yung alam natin, BBC News, you can now watch, lalagay mo lang yung date, you can already watch because it is recorded through YouTube. 'Di ba? Pwede mo siyang mapuntahan sa YouTube, pwede mong mapanood siya sa YouTube. But in actual broadcasting na walang capacity to record and to provide copies with their constituents, hindi na siya pwedeng ibalik pa. Halimbawa, no? Halimbawa, the Republic of the Philippines and the Republic of China under bilateral trade agreement have agreed to expand their two-way trade with the latter assuring of the former and it will not extend it in any support. Diba? Ang haba. But you can use these words or this sentence. The Philippines and China today agreed to expand their trade relations by signing a trade agreement. China assured the Philippines that it will not support the local communist movement. Okay? And lastly, for our principles in news writing is it is sound only. Okay? When we say sound only, words are the bridge between newsletter or news writer and the listener. Use word to convey concrete images. Under this principle, the scriptwriter is also cautioned against words with clashing sounds. Halimbawa, it's marirefer nyo pa rin dito yung tinatawag nating alliterations or tongue twisting. Halimbawa, the building was built by a local builder. Tama, mali? Ha? Tama ba yon? The building was built by the local builder. Ha? Sige nga, mali daw sabi ni Elna Aguirre. Yes, basically, 'di ba? Meron din tayong accepted, 'di ba? Back, then buck, 'di ba? Yung BACK at BUCK, they sound the same but their meanings are both different. Okay, ano nga ang tawag doon sa parts of speech? A parts of speech ba? Sige nga, sino nga makakasagot? Loading pa nga daw. I'm sorry. Stay tuned lang. Kapit lang mga kaibigan. Anong tawag doon? If you're able to pronounce, they pronounce the same but different in meaning. Alliteration ba? Alliteration is the same sound at the beginning. Right? Okay, assignment nyo yan. Homophone daw sabi ni Baron. Let's see. All right. So, now let's have some things that you need to consider. The types. This is now the features of a news script. When writing our script, we have to write first the date of the report. Okay? So, nasa taas parati yan. But you're writing a script. Nasa taas yung date mo ngayon. Next to that is the slug. Okay, what is a slug? Under the date, that would be a slug or catch line, 1 or 2 words. Halimbawa, yung report is about pork barrel. Okay, so yung slug mo, pork barrel. Alam na alam niya ni Ian kasi Ian knows how to do the headline writing and copy reading. So yung slug line na yon, yun yung ilalagay mo na topic ng inyong report. Halimbawa, it's about pork barrel. So, pork barrel 2021. So, yun yun. Then time, just after the slug, pasunod-sunod lang yan eh. Date of report slash slug slash the time slash sa baba na is the body. And under that is the source. Okay? Homonyms daw. Homonyms, ang daming sagot na homonyms. Let's see. Weak connection. I'm very sorry, Itok. Kapit lang kaibigan. Po. So, alimbawa, 7/25/2018, tapos sa baba nun, slug. Halimbawa, pork barrel 2021, sa baba nun, oras, 7 p.m. Now, the body. Okay? So, mayroon pa tayong Q in and Q out. Alright? So, eto naman yung guidelines natin in language usage. So, we already know the principles and what to remember in writing your script. Basta, always focus on the what we call simple words. Okay? Simple and precise words, conversational style, at yung last is concise, direct messages or sentences. Okay? Yun lang yung pagkakaiba ng broadcasting or newscasting. Because in competition, if you wanted to join in a competition, the whole broadcasting or the whole broadcast will only last for 5 minutes. So yung 5 minutes, nandyan na yan yung headline, yung news, yung sports, yung showbiz, or maybe, depende sa binigay na fact sheet. Fact sheet, hindi fact sheet kung anong iniisip nyo ha. Fact sheet. So kung ano yung binigay na fact sheet, papagkasyahin nyo po yun sa 5 minuto. Okay? In competition, every 10 seconds, minus 1. Okay? So pag lumagpas kayo, halimbawa 5 minutes and 30 seconds, ilan na agad yon? 3 points na agad ang bawas sa inyo nun. Okay? I think that's the end for broadcasting. I hope that you get at least a gist. I know it's very loading for some area, medyo loading siya. But let me just have first na before I end with the radio broadcasting and also in newscasting, with TV newscasting, meron tayong isang kino-consider. We have to consider the word attribution. So broadcast put attribution at the beginning of the sentence for better flow. 'Di ba? So hindi na tulad ng sabi ko kanina, outmoded na yung and I quote. Okay? Yung unquote at I quote. Masyado na siyang wow ha, CJ, nabitin ka pa ba? CJ Barrentos. Where my goal is only 30 minutes and I am now 48 minutes. Don't worry because this is now TV broadcasting. Sa attribution, you have to do it na direct attribution. Alright? So, note that attribution is at the beginning. Okay? Yung mga long job title is shorten nyo and the middle initial not used. Okay? Wag nang gamitin yung Jeric Espinosa Kabug. Alright? Halimbawa, doctor, hindi mo na rin kailangan sabihin na doctor, spell out talaga ang doctor, 'di ba? So you can in broadcasting, yes, in radio broadcasting, but in TV broadcasting, kahit hindi na siya sa attribution. Okay? So, pangalawa is time element. Broadcast strives for immediacy. Naulit na rin lang. Okay? Yung use of quotes natin, eto yung, I'll give you an example sa use of quotes. Kasi, eto karamihan yung mga napapansin ko lang in script writing sa broadcasting na they are really having trouble in terms of quoting kasi karamihan na binibigay sa kanilang fact sheet, maraming quote. Minsan rin data. Madali lang gawan ng data madali lang gawan ng script if it's all data or figures. Let's say, binigyan lang kayo ng report, halimbawa, malnutrition for the last 3 years. Tapos, mas bate doon ang maraming case. So, madaling gawan yon. Ang pinaka-problema sa lahat, alam nyo kung ano, pag binigyan kayo ng police report, police blatter, Yun yung kasing mga binibigay. Police blatter, yung hearing na naganap, yung hearing na naganap, gagawin mo yun ng script. I'm not kidding. This is all true. Bibigyan kayo ng hearing. Halimbawa, result ng hearing, as in copy ng hearing ibibigay sa inyo. Pangalawa naman, ang ibibigay sa inyo, police blatter. Chamba mo lang kapag data yung binigay sa inyo. But if it's not, lagot talaga kayo, right? Let me give you an example. Sa newspaper, ito yung paglagay ng quote. Quote, I will not allow the Morris Island Lighthouse to collapse into the sea, the governor said. Okay, di ba ganun usually sa newspaper? But when we broadcast, we start first with the governor says, and these are his exact words. I will not allow the Morris Island Lighthouse to collapse into the sea. Okay? So, wag na rin po tayong gagamit ng quotation mark. Okay? Because that is a direct attribution and direct address. Okay? Middle initials, wag na rin po natin gagamitin. Use of names with titles for position and age. Okay? Example, EPO Research Chemist Dr. William Bates says. Okay? So, in broadcasting, yun yung sinabi ko na i-spell out natin yung ano yung meaning ng EPO. Yung i-spell out din natin yung figures. But if it's lagpas na siya ng thousands, halimbawa, pumunta na siya sa 10,000 or million na, you have to give the nearest computation. Okay? Mahigit, halimbawa, mahigit 1,000,000, you don't have to say, 1,020,970 diba? Wag nang ganon. Alright? And also the year, para hindi mahirapan si news presenter, you can just spell it out for him. Okay? Yun yung tinatawag kong rounding of numbers. Halimbawa, sa newspaper, yung sinabi ko kanina, sa newspaper, sinasabi 76,212. Diba? But you can just say, more than 76,000 students. Okay? Attribution is at the beginning. Yes, exactly. Baruga. Tama ba? Baron. Moy Moy Channel. Hello. Yon. So, loading daw. Sabi nila loading. Kapit lang mga kaibigan. Ganyan talaga. Alright. So, also the verb tenses. We have to consider in writing our news script. Sa newspaper, the residents said the storm was the worst they've ever seen. But in broadcasting, you can say the residents say the storm was the worst they've ever seen. So, what is the difference? If you're listening well, it's said and says or say. All right? Broadcast uses present tense always. Okay? So, instead of using said, you can just use says. Okay? Instead of using was, you can use is to sound more immediate and current and also timely. Kasi yun nga, on the go ang news presenting natin eh. Contractions. Ano yung contractions natin? Broadcast uses more contractions than print because they are conversational. Halimbawa, sa newspaper ang nakalagay lang, doctors say there is a significant cancer hazard. Okay? But in broadcast, you can just say, doctors say there's a quote, significant cancer hazard. Okay? So, yun yun. Also, the abbreviation, kapag sa newspaper, okay lang na, halimbawa, Cafe Cristina located at Boulevard Extension, Masbate City. So, yung boulevard natin, pwede lang ang BLVD, yung extension natin, EXT, in print. But especially, when we're talking of broadcasting, sabi ko kanina, spell it out. Okay? So, you can use like Boulevard talaga and BOULEVARD and the extension EXTEN SION extension. Okay? Ito pa nga yung ginagawa lalo na sa Filipino kasi 'di ba? Matatas masyado ang Filipino. Ramdam na ramdam ko 'yan. Sobra ang tatas ng Filipino na pati yung mga kahulugan ay na mahihirapan ka rin sa pagbigkas, hindi ba? So kahit nga minsan, halimbawa, walang lahat ng salita ay walang katumbas na eksaktong katumbas sa Filipino. Halimbawa, commissioner. Okay? So, same lang naman sila sa Filipino, commissioner. 'Di ba? So, ang ginagawa ng iba dyan, para hindi mahirapan sa pag-pronounce, linalagan ng dash. Okay? Com, ni, syo, ner. Okay? Para pag binasa, commissioner, okay, sinabi ng commissioner na si ganito ganyan. Alright? So, lalagyan nyo yan. Depende, ang focus natin is the sound. Okay? When we're talking of broadcasting, we're focusing on the sound and not on the spelling. Opo, totoo po yan. Lalo na ako, pag nagbo-broadcast ako sa radyo, pag nagsasalita sa radyo, I'm not really focusing on the spelling na. Minsan na-focus ko na siya sa sound. Okay? Pero not recommended. Stick pa rin tayo sa tamang spelling at tamang tunog. Okay? So, that's the end of our discussion. I hope I was able to at least translate to you basic knowledge in broadcasting. Okay? Basta importante lang talaga sa broadcasting wag po tayong gagaya ng boses. That is very, very tricky na akala ng iba na pag sinabing mula sa tahanan ng katotohanan. Parang lahat na lang ng intro ganyan. Hindi ba pwedeng mula sa tahanan ng katotohanan, sandigan ng bayan, 'di ba? So you can use those things bear in mind whenever you deliver. Kasi ito lang po yung consideration natin in radio broadcasting. First, script. Second, delivery. Okay? Extra hirap lang when you are doing the news, the TV reporting, because your physique should be validated as well. 'Di ba? So dapat yung postura mo, yung itsura mo dapat okay naman tignan. Hindi ka naman siguro Philippine flag na yung earrings mo yellow, red yung top mo, tapos yung bottom mo blue, 'di ba? Parang sumisigaw ang anchor ng ANC ay sumisigaw na ako ay Pilipino, 'di ba? So kung mapapansin rin ninyo, napaka-minimalist lang tulad ng nangyari sa ABS-CBN, wherein whenever they wear something, they wear black lang or white, then they're just a ribbon representing the color of ABS-CBN na nakikidalamhati sila. So parang ganon yung datingan natin. So wag din yung parang news reporter ka, pero daig mo pa si Catriona Gray sa kanyang eyeshadow na maitim, 'di ba? Smoky eyes. So walang ganon, right? So I hope I'm able to I'm able to translate to you the basic of broadcasting. Okay? I wish to have sana an output from this, but it's we're on the verge, on the peak of the deadline. So I hope not only the incentive, your purpose of coming here is not only your incentive, but the purpose of coming here is really the knowledge where you can use in the near future. Also, technique in speaking halimbawa, para lang kasi siyang speech, impromptu speech where we do the prep. Do you know the prep? The point, explanation, point, then review, then evidence, then point. So dun lang tayo ikot when we are speaking when we're doing the impromptu speaking. Yun yung tip din sa broadcasting, wherein pag magsa-start na, you have to set yourself na anchor ako. Ganito dapat akong tignan. Ganito dapat ang boses ko. Wala akong gagayahin. Hindi ko lalaliman ang pagsasalita ko. 'di ba? Hindi ko rin bibilisan ang pagsasalita ko because my main purpose it is to translate the information as if I am just talking to my audience. All right? So, that's I think one of the factor in when you are doing speaking engagement. And if you wanted to give me more about speaking engagement, I can do a lot of videos with that, and but not now. I'm still busy doing your grades. But I am very very happy for 129 students right now. All right? So, how to get the word INCENTEIVES. So, just after this video, send me this this answer. What are the five components in news writing? In broadcasting, ha? The five components in news writing. That's one. And the second one is the audio elements. Okay? So right after this, direct message me. Okay? Clear? So I hope you've learned something. See you again on our see you around, not on our second, but I wish to have a lot of podcasts then where I can share. Diba? I hope you've learned something from this and I hope you enjoy. Hindi kayo naging boring with this lesson. All right. So goodbye everyone. Do it right now, right after this video for you to get the INCENTIVS. Goodbye everybody. Stay safe and healthy. Bye-bye. Again daw. Okay, first, answers lang ang ibibigay ah. 5 components in news writing and the 3 vocal elements. Okay? Or audio elements rather. Okay? Get it? Let me comment it down. Okay, bye-bye. I already put it down. Please try to check it out. Thank you, Dal. Looking forward sa mga upcoming videos. Thank you. Share my channel also. Please help me spread knowledge, grow my audience. I wanted to have more audience because the main purpose of this is really to record the knowledge, and from time to time if you have something to ask, you can go back with a video. All right, bye bye.